It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today. I'm B Ron alongside me is my co-host this morning, Rick Blaze. Good morning, man. How are you doing?
Finally, Rick Blaze has come back to SimWorld today. B-Run, how are we, good brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
It
I'm
doesn't
sipping.
matter how you doing today, B-Run. Let's get to the show.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get right into it. Joel Embiid. Uh, he's injured again. Got hurt in their game against the Warriors the other day, and you see it here, and it's a knee injury, and there's the concern is now that he could miss that 65 game mark for the MVP qualification. It's looking like he might not miss it, but if he does, that's going to impact his standings and his eligibility for that MVP award race. And for those who are unaware of what that rule is for 65 games, it just means that the player they've played in at least 65 regular season games for the SBBA, and then they have to play in at least 62. But if they suffered a season-ending injury and played in at least 85% of their games, then there's some things that come into play there. But you can really only miss a maximum of 17 uh, games in a season and log 20 minutes in a game. Be counted for like awards and games counted, that kind of stuff. But all of that explanation and exposition just to ask the question of, is this rule a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, one thing Joel Embiid and I both have in common is we're both running really low on our PTO for our jobs, and he's running real low on his. And I think it's a good thing. You have to think about it. My coach used to tell me the best ability is availability, and if you're not available, then you can't play and you can't help the team. So I think if you want to be in a running for an MVP award, then you need to be playing these games. There's too much player management and clock management and injury management and pacifier management and my kid got sick today management. So let's just play basketball. If the other players can come out and play every game and the minimum game, then Joel should be held to the same standard. I don't remember Jordan and Penny Hardaway and those guys missing buku games unless they had to. So I'm gonna say you have to play. So I like the rule.
Yeah, everybody should be held to the same standard. I agree with you there. Um, I don't I don't know how I feel about the rule in terms of like being a good or bad thing or not, but to have the discussion here, I don't think it's a good thing. And I say that because I feel like now it's different. If you go out in the first game of the season, obviously you're not going to be eligible for like any awards. That makes sense to me. But maybe you could lower that threshold. Maybe you could lower it to like 50 or 45. I don't know. Just because the season is so long, and to play in, let's say 85%,
So
75% of
I,
the
I think
games.
that's I
You know what I
think that's
mean?
what 65 games are. 85%.
Yeah.
65 out of 82. I think that's like 85% of the game. So
Yeah.
again, I think their threshold is not bad. I would say the max you can miss, maybe if I was running it, 20 games. But you can't miss no more than 20 games, no matter how you
Yeah.
slice
I
it.
think
Whether it's injury, low management. I think they have it like at 17 or whatever the number is now, 15.
mhm.
But I say 20 will be my max. But I'm cool with that. I mean, you got to show
Yeah.
up and
Yeah,
want the
I
award.
agree. I agree. You gotta show up. You gotta show up. You gotta be eligible to play in order to make the impact to be eligible for those kinds of awards. And only do this to be on the court. But if you're missing, like I said, half your games, then yeah, that's totally different. But I think 2025 is probably a good number for all of that. The next thing is just to kind of keep the conversation moving is that we've heard other players complain about it in the past too. Tyrese Halliburton comes to mind, who was one who was, making a big fuss about the rule in terms of, how it impacts things. He, called it stupid and that kind of stuff is, he's just, there's a lot of conflict around
Well,
the rule, which
and
like I
B run
get it.
here's the problem with this. Here's what really happened. the players figure out how to game the system, which is fine until too many people start running their mouth and start overdoing the gaming of the system. So
Mhm.
now the business end of the NBA caught up to you gaming the system, and now they're like, oh no, 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 no. You can't game the system anymore. So the players are reacting or overreacting to the fact that, damn, they caught us. They found out about us gaming the system. There's always one player or a couple of players. Everybody has it on their job. That when you find a loophole in the system, somebody gonna take it too far and go mess it up for everybody. And that's exactly what happened. And now this is the ramifications and the repercussions. You have to show up to win your award. And for the other players who's complaining about it, y'all not end up running for any damn awards anyway. So why are you tripping? You're never winning nothing.
Yeah, because this award it doesn't just impact MVP. It impacts defensive player of the year, all NBA teams, and I'm sure that those things impact incentives too. You're talking
Right.
about $40 million potentially on the table that you could be missing because you don't hit that threshold for whatever reason. Be it again load management, injury, whatever. Injuries are part of the sport. They happen, so it's not. I'm not gonna say and discredit that, but load management is a different kind of thing entirely. I think when it comes to this conversation.
Yeah, I got the little violin playing. Sing me a sad song because you got to show up for your job. Welcome to the real world. We all got to show up for our job.
That's very true. We do all have to show up for our job, and it's tough to be in that situation. I think, um, because these guys are pro athletes, yes, but they're still human at the end of the day. They do, break down, get injured, that kind of stuff. They have to deal with these things, and these are their emotions around it. I understand it, but like you said, they have to show up for their job, and we gotta show up for ours too, just like everybody else does. Yeah.
Absolutely. Spare me your banality.
Well, let's get into some SimWorld prep talk, shall we? Because Lakeshore Drive and Oceania had a game yesterday, and that was a game for me where I mentioned that there was some the Oceania had a big chance yesterday to do something good and make an impact on the league as a whole. And D'Angelo Jordan had another great game yesterday in that win. And here's some defense from Musa Mashad going the other way with it and getting the slam on the defensive end as well. Great defensive play from him and D'Angelo Jordan here once again,
Whoa.
but no, Musa Mashad
Get that out of
denying
here.
it on the block. Get that out of here. The snatch block too. And then the pass inside or over to the wing for Jordan to finish it off there. And Lakeshore Drive ended up running away with it and winning by a comfortable margin, 72-60. 12-point win in that one. And for you, Rick, what was the bigger takeaway in that? Was the fact that Lakeshore Drive extended their win streak, or was to now 5 games in a row, or was it Oceania's skid continuing? They're now 8-5, and they're 3-2 in their last 5. Their second loss in a row.
Well, I called this on the show on my show yesterday. It's nothing really new. Coming into the season, I always knew Oceana was gonna have one major problem. That's playing defense. Their two brightest stars, Luffy and Beauchamp, are great offensive players. But especially Luffy, they don't really have interest on the defensive side. So when your leaders aren't locking in on D, then that's going to have an effect on the entire team. So
Mhm.
it's more or less the same as what I thought. Oceana has a really good young team, but they're not a defensive minded squad. And if you can't get stops, if you can't get buckets, then you can't. If you can't get stops along with buckets, then you can't get those big wins against a team like Lakeshore Drive. So I'm not surprised. D'Angelo Jordan is doing what he's doing. Lakeshore is a really nice team, and Oceana has a nice team too. They just don't lock in defensively. When you can't lock in defensively, you can't get big stops, you can't win big games, period.
Yeah, and you mentioned your show. I'll mention my article yesterday. After the game, I had said that the international teams just can't hang with the U.S. based teams. They're not there yet. Um, and I don't think that that's hyperbole or disrespectful to say that because we've seen it over the course of the season. Like the record was like 18 and 40, 49 or something like that combined for the international teams playing against the US based teams this season. That's not disrespect. That's a fact. You can feel how you feel about it, but that's just fact of the matter. Um, Samoa Oceania, they had a chance yesterday to prove that if you're a top team in the Intercontinental region, you can hang with the top teams in the Southern, Neo, and Founders region of Samoa Prep. And with the loss yesterday, the 12-point loss, they're not there yet. If it was a closer game, if it was, 5-point game, the two might be different. But the fact of the matter is, talent is not there yet.
Yeah, and it's international team is and they having the same issue as most international teams is their talent pool is not as depth and not as wide as the US talent pool. But here's another fun fact, B Run. There are some US teams that can't hang with other US teams either.
Oh no, yeah, that's true. That's very true. Very very true. You're right about that. Right about that. Well, look, let's keep moving with the international team talk because SimWorld Europe also had a game yesterday against Bad Boys Basketball, and it was a thriller. But fortunately for them, it was their third loss in a row as a result, and we'll see how we got there. Of course, as Opagnati had himself going in that one, and Andre Ivanov spawned with the dunk there of his own. Ty Merka tying the game up with a three-pointer
Gosh,
here.
me out.
But of course, here in the final stretch of the game, the Pagnotti posse was out in full force, and Bo Pagnotti ended
Mm,
up putting the game away there
mm.
with the game winner. Clutch shot from Bo Pagnotti, and Bad Boys ended up getting that win. It was a 65-63 final in that one. And man, that was a really impressive game. But again, Europe lost their third in a row. They are now sitting at 6-7 in that intercontinental region. They're 1-4 in their last five. They started looking really good to start the season, but they've taken a bit of a tumble here. Is it time for us to write them off, Rick?
Write them off. Write them off of where? What are we gonna write them off to? We can't just we can't just cancel the season. I'm not as I wasn't as high on Europe as some people were coming into the season.
Mm,
They start off to a really good start, but we see this every year. We see one or two international teams that come out guns a blazing, and then the real world catches up. I think what's happening. The schedule is now correcting itself, right? So now
tighten it
people are
up a little
starting to
bit.
play
Yeah.
those teams that they wasn't playing early in the season. So now
Hmm.
you're really starting to see after 10 games what guys and what teams really, really, really lie. And Europe just ran across two really good guards for Bad Boy. Their backcourt is one of the best in Sim World. And Europe don't have the backcourt to defend. Again, it comes back to defending. That can defend those guards on both of those guards, Pagnotti and Vargas. So that's going to make it tough for them because that's Bad Boy's strengths is not Europe's strength on defense, and so the matchup was not a good matchup for Europe. They held in there. They had a chance to pull it out. The guard play in the backcourt was just too saucy for them. Too
Yeah,
saucy.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And I don't think it's time to write them off just yet. In terms, and when I say write off, I mean in terms of like making a good run in the race to one, that kind of thing. Since everybody's making it this season, um, I don't think it's time to write them off just yet. I think, like you said, it's a matchup thing. Matches come into play. Matches are a big deal, but in any game, be it a regular season game or race to one game. So if they can get favorable matches in the race to one, they could make some noise. But you have to get there first and see how it all works out. But all that being said, though, that's gonna do it for us here today on SimWorld today. Thank you for joining us as always. And look, YouTube is here. We're here. We're here on YouTube. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, notify bell, all that good stuff, so you can know when all of our game streams, shows go live for you guys here on SimWorld TV, the exclusive home for all things SimWorld Hoops, SimWorld Prep. And Rick, let you take the outro, my friend.
Man, SimWorld Hoops, the only place where you can see the game, be the game. Yeah.